Maya Rodriguez checked her controls one more time. The small scout ship moved quietly through the dark space near Earth's outer border. She had done this patrol 100 times before. Nothing ever happened out here. The routine was simple. Fly. The route, scan for trouble, report back to base. Today felt different, though. Something made her nervous. Her radar screen showed empty space in all directions. Stars dotted the black void like tiny diamonds. Earth was far behind her now, just another dot of light among millions. Maya had been flying alone for 6 hours. 2 more hours and she could turn around and head home. The first sign of trouble came without warning. Her ship shook hard, throwing her against the control panel. Red lights flashed everywhere. The main screen showed damage reports flooding in faster than she could read them. Something had hit her ship, but her scanners showed nothing. "What the hell?" Maya said out loud. She tried to turn the ship around, but the engines were dead. Life support was failing. The hull had cracks that were getting bigger. She reached for the emergency beacon, but another impact knocked her hand away from the controls. That was when she saw them. 3 ships appeared out of nowhere, like ghosts becoming solid. They were sleek and deadly, with smooth purple hulls that seemed to bend light around them. Maya had never seen anything like them before. They were not human ships. They were not like any alien ships in Earth's databases either. The largest ship moved closer. It was easily 10 times bigger than her scout ship. Strange symbols glowed along its sides. Maya tried to send a warning message back to Earth, but her communications were jammed. She was cut off and helpless. A blue beam shot out from the lead ship and wrapped around her vessel. Maya felt her ship being pulled toward the alien craft like a fish on a hook. She fought with the controls, but nothing worked. Her engines were completely dead. The steering did not respond. Even the emergency systems had shut down. Come on," Maya muttered, hitting buttons and switches. Nothing helped. The alien ship's cargo bay opened like a giant mouth, and her ship was dragged inside. The bay doors closed behind her with a sound like thunder. Maya sat in her pilot seat, breathing hard. Her heart pounded in her chest. She had trained for combat situations, but this was beyond anything the Earth military had prepared her for. She was alone, captured, and no one knew where she was. Heavy footsteps echoed outside her ship. Maya grabbed her sidearm and checked the charge. It was fully loaded, but she doubted it would do much good against whoever was out there. The footsteps stopped right outside her ship's door. A deep voice spoke in a language Maya did not understand. The words sounded harsh and commanding. Then the voice switched to broken English. "Human. Come out. Now." Maya did not move. She kept her weapon ready and stayed quiet. "We know you're in there, human. Come out, or we will come in." The ship's door began to glow red hot. Whatever they were using to cut through the metal was working fast. Maya realized she had maybe 30 seconds before they broke in. She could try to fight, but that would probably get her killed quickly. Or she could surrender and maybe live long enough to find a way to escape. The door burst open with a shower of sparks. 3 figures filled the doorway, and Maya's jaw dropped. They were huge, at least 8 feet tall, with skin that looked like living crystal. The skin changed colors as she watched, shifting from deep purple to bright blue and back again. They wore armor that seemed to be made from the same crystal material as their skin. The leader stepped forward. His crystal skin was darker than the others, and strange markings covered his arms and face. His eyes were solid black with no visible pupils. When he spoke, his voice was like rocks grinding together. "I am Captain Vextar. You are now property of the Zephyrian Empire." Maya kept her gun pointed at him, even though she knew it was useless. "I am Lieutenant Maya Rodriguez of the Earth Defense Force. You have committed an act of war against Earth." Vextar laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "Earth? Your little planet means nothing to us. We take what we want from weak species like yours. What do you want with me? You will fight in the arena. You will die for the entertainment of our people. But first, you might live long enough to amuse us." 2 of the aliens moved toward Maya. She fired her weapon, and the energy bolt hit the first alien in the chest. It did nothing. The blast just scattered harmlessly off his crystal skin. Before she could fire again, One of them grabbed her wrist and squeezed. Maya cried out in pain and dropped her gun. They dragged her out of her ship and through corridors that hurt to look at. The walls seemed to shift and move, covered in patterns that made her eyes water. Other aliens moved through the corridors, all of them tall and crystalline like her captors. They looked at Maya with curiosity, like she was some strange animal they had never seen before. Vextar walked beside her as they moved deeper into the ship. Your species has a reputation throughout the galaxy, human. You are known for being weak, slow, and stupid, perfect for the arena. You might be surprised, Maya said through gritted teeth. No, I will not be surprised. I have seen many humans die in the games. You all die the same way, crying and begging for mercy. They threw Maya into a small cell with walls made of the same shifting crystal material as everything else on the ship. The door sealed itself with no visible lock or handle. Maya was trapped. She sat on the narrow bench and tried to think. The aliens had made one mistake already. They thought humans were weak and stupid. That was wrong. Maya had survived years of military training. She had fought in 3 border conflicts. She knew how to kill, and more importantly, she knew how to survive. The ship jumped to faster than light speed, and Maya felt the strange sensation of reality bending around her. Wherever they were taking her, it was far from Earth. No rescue was coming. She was on her own, but Maya had been on her own before, and she was still alive. The ship traveled through space for 3 long days. Maya counted the hours by watching the lights in her cell dim and brighten in cycles. The aliens brought her food twice each day. The meals were chunks of gray meat and bitter water that tasted like metal. She ate it anyway. She needed strength for whatever was coming. On the 3rd day, the ship stopped shaking. Maya felt the strange pull of artificial gravity as they dropped out of faster-than-light travel. Through the small window in her cell, she could see a massive planet covered in purple clouds. Huge structures reached up from the surface like metal mountains. This was Zephyr Prime, the homeworld of her captors. Captain Vextar came to her cell as the ship prepared to land. His crystal skin was bright blue now, which Maya had learned meant he was excited about something. Welcome to your new home, human. You will not live long enough to see much of it, but you should feel honored. Few of your kind ever reach our world. Lucky me, Maya said. She had stopped trying to be polite to her captors. You will be taken to the arena complex soon. Try not to embarrass yourself too much when you die. The ship landed with a thud that Maya felt through the floor. Within minutes, guards came for her. They put heavy chains on her hands and feet. The chains were made of the same crystal material as their skin, and they were stronger than steel. Maya tested them once and gave up. She would have to wait for a better chance to escape. They marched her through the ship and out into the alien world. The air was thick and smelled like burning metal. The sky was purple, just like the clouds she had seen from space. Strange buildings, stretched in every direction, all made from the same shifting crystal that seemed to be the only building material the aliens used. The arena complex was the biggest structure Maya had ever seen. It rose from the ground like a crystal mountain, with thousands of levels and millions of tiny windows. Even from a distance, she could hear the roar of crowds inside. This was where she was going to die, unless she could figure out a way to survive. They took her through underground tunnels that led to the holding cells beneath the arena. The tunnels were filled with other prisoners from dozens of different species. Maya saw creatures she had never imagined before. Some looked like giant insects. Others were covered in fur or scales. A few looked almost human, but with extra arms or different colored skin. The holding area was a maze of cells carved directly into the rock beneath the arena. Each cell held 1 or 2 prisoners. The guards threw Maya into a cell with a creature that looked like a cross between a lizard and a man. He was covered in green scales and had yellow eyes that seemed to glow in the dim light. Another human, the creature said in perfect English. I am Korvac of the Saurian Republic. I suppose you are here to die like the rest of us. I am Maya Rodriguez, and I do not plan on dying anytime soon. Korvac laughed, but there was no humor in it. They all say that at first. I have been here for 2 years. I have fought in 17 matches. Most beings do not survive their first fight. What can you tell me about this place? Korvac moved closer to the bars of their cell. The arena is run by Overlord Thaxum. He is the most powerful Zephyrian on this world. The fights are broadcast across the galaxy. Billions of beings watch for entertainment. What kind of fights? All kinds. Sometimes it is one against one. Sometimes it is groups fighting each other. Sometimes they release dangerous animals to hunt us. The crowd decides what they want to see. Maya looked around the holding area. There were hundreds of cells, each one holding beings who had been brought here to die for entertainment. The thought made her angry, but she pushed the anger down. Anger would not help her survive. Tell me about the other prisoners. Who has been here the longest? There is an old warrior named Braktul. He is from the stone people of Petra 7th. He has survived 32 matches over 4 years, but he is getting slow. His next fight will probably be his last. What about humans? Have there been others like me? Korvac's expression grew sad. Many humans have passed through here. None lasted more than 3 fights. Your species is not built for this kind of combat. We will see about that. Over the next few hours, Maya talked to as many prisoners as she could reach. She learned about the different species, their strengths and weaknesses. She asked about the arena itself, how the fights were organized, what weapons were available. Every piece of information might save her life. An old prisoner named Gethrak told her about the arena floor. It changes for every fight. Sometimes it is flat ground with scattered weapons. Sometimes it is a maze with traps. Once they made it look like a jungle with real plants and animals. How do they decide who fights who? The Overlord picks based on what will entertain the crowd most. New prisoners usually fight other new prisoners first. If you survive, you fight harder opponents. That night, Maya lay on the stone floor of her cell and tried to sleep. But sleep would not come. Tomorrow might be her first fight, and she had no idea what to expect. She thought about her training back on Earth. Hand-to-hand combat, weapons, training, survival skills. None of it had prepared her for this, but Maya had one advantage that her captors did not know about. She was smart. She could think and plan while her opponents relied on brute strength. Humans might not be the strongest or fastest species in the galaxy, but they were good at solving problems. The next morning, guards came for 3 prisoners. One of them was Maya. They marched the 3 of them through more tunnels until they reached a large room filled with weapons. Swords, axes, spears, and things Maya did not recognize hung from the walls. "Choose your weapons," one of the guards said. "You fight in 10 minutes. Maya looked at the weapons carefully. She picked up a plasma rifle and checked its charge. It was fully loaded. She also took a short sword and a small shield. Light armor would be better than heavy armor for staying mobile. The other 2 prisoners were both from species she had never seen before. One looked like a giant crab with razor-sharp claws. The other was covered in thick fur and had muscles bigger than Maya's entire body. "First fight is always 3-way combat," the guard explained. "Last one alive wins, losers die." They led the 3 fighters up a ramp toward bright lights. Maya could hear the crowd now, thousands of voices cheering and screaming. The sound got louder as they climbed higher. Then they were in the arena, and Maya saw what she was really up against. The floor was made of black stone scattered with weapons and obstacles. Around them, rising up in circles toward the sky, were millions of alien spectators. The noise was overwhelming. An announcer's voice boomed across the arena, speaking in the harsh Zephyrian language. Maya caught a few words she had learned during her captivity. New fighters. First blood. Death match. The crowd roared its approval. Maya gripped her weapons and prepared to fight for her life. The arena floor felt solid under Maya's feet. The black stone was warm, heated from below by energy systems she could not see. Around her, the crowd of millions screamed and cheered. Their voices created a wall of sound that seemed to push against her from all sides. Maya looked at her 2 opponents. The crab-like creature clicked its massive claws together, making a sound like breaking bones. Its shell was thick and dark, probably strong enough to stop most weapons. The furry giant flexed muscles that were bigger than Maya's head. Both creatures were at least twice her size. The announcer's voice boomed again. Maya heard the Zephyrian word for begin, and suddenly her opponents were moving toward her. Maya ran, not away from the fight but toward the scattered weapons on the arena floor. The crab creature was fast for its size, but the furry giant was slow. Maya reached a pile of energy weapons and grabbed a second plasma rifle. Now she had 2 guns and could fire longer before needing to reload. The crab creature reached her first. Its claws swept toward her head, fast enough to cut her in half. Maya dropped to the ground and rolled sideways. The claws passed over her and struck the stone floor, sending up sparks. Maya came up firing. The plasma bolts hit the creature's shell and bounced off like raindrops. The shell was too thick for her weapons to pierce, but Maya noticed something important. The creature's joints, where its legs connected to its body, were not protected by the thick shell. She changed her aim and fired at the leg joints. The plasma bolts burned through the softer flesh there. The creature screamed and stumbled, green blood flowing from the wounds. One of its legs stopped working completely. The furry giant reached them and swung a massive fist at Maya. She jumped backward, but the fist caught her shoulder and sent her flying across the arena floor. Pain shot through her body as she hit the ground hard. Her left arm went numb. Maya forced herself to get up. The crowd was cheering louder now. They liked seeing the small human get hurt. She wiped blood from her mouth and checked her weapons. One plasma rifle was broken from the fall. The other still worked. The furry giant came at her again, moving like a mountain that had learned to walk. Maya stayed mobile, circling around him while firing at his head and chest. The plasma bolts burned his fur but did not seem to hurt him much. His skin was too thick. Behind the giant, the crab creature was getting back up. It could still fight with 7 legs instead of 8. Maya was running out of time and ammunition. She needed a new plan. Maya remembered her training. When facing multiple opponents, make them fight each other instead of you. She ran toward the giant, then at the last second dove between his legs. The crab creature, charging from behind, could not stop in time. Its claws hit the giant in the back instead of hitting Maya. The giant roared in pain and anger. He spun around and grabbed the crab creature with both hands. The 2 aliens began fighting each other, forgetting about Maya for the moment. She used the time to find better weapons. Near the center of the arena was a pile of explosive devices. Maya had used similar weapons during her military training. She grabbed 3 of them and set the timers for 10 seconds each. Then she waited for the right moment. The giant had lifted the crab creature over his head and was about to throw it. Maya tossed one explosive device right between them. She ran as fast as she could toward the edge of the arena. The explosion knocked both creatures to the ground. The crab's shell cracked in several places. The giant's fur was on fire. Maya threw the second explosive at the crab creature as it tried to get up. The blast finished the job, and the creature stopped moving. The giant was still alive but badly hurt. Burns covered most of his body. He looked around for Maya with eyes full of rage and pain. When he saw her, he charged one last time. Maya waited until he was almost on top of her, then activated the third explosive and tossed it right at his feet. She threw herself sideways as the blast went off. When the smoke cleared, the giant was down and not getting up. The arena fell silent. Maya stood alone in the center, surrounded by the bodies of her opponents. Her shoulder hurt badly, and blood ran down her face from several cuts, but she was alive. Then the crowd exploded into cheers. They were not cheering for her victory, but for the entertainment she had provided. Maya looked up at the millions of faces surrounding her. Most showed excitement and joy at the violence they had witnessed. A few looked surprised that the small human had won. Guards came onto the arena floor to remove the bodies and escort Maya back to the holding cells. As they walked, one of the guards spoke to her in broken English. "Good fight, human." Overlord was impressed. "You live to fight another day." Back in her cell, Korvac looked at Maya with new respect. "I was wrong about you. Most first-time fighters die within minutes. You not only survived, you won. I got lucky, Maya said, but she knew it was more than luck. She had used her brain, instead of just her muscles. Word of Maya's victory spread quickly through the holding cells. Other prisoners wanted to talk to her, to learn how a human had defeated two much larger opponents. Maya shared what she could, but she was careful not to give away all her secrets. Over the next few weeks, Maya fought 4 more matches. Each time, her opponents were bigger and stronger than the last ones. Each time, she found ways to win through speed, intelligence, and tactics rather than brute force. Against a rock creature from Petra 7th, she used sonic weapons to shatter its crystalline internal structure. Fighting an energy-based being from the luminary system, she used mirrors to reflect its own power back at it. When facing a swarm of small but deadly hunters, she used their pack instincts against them by making them chase her into traps. The crowd began to cheer for her. They called her the Terran Storm because she moved like lightning and struck without warning. Maya hated the name, but she understood its value. Fame in the arena meant better treatment and more chances to survive. Other prisoners started asking for her help. Maya began teaching them tactics and strategies. She formed alliances with fighters who were willing to work together instead of just trying to kill each other. But Maya knew this could not last forever. Each fight was harder than the one before. Eventually, they would put her against an opponent she could not defeat, unless she found a way to escape or change the entire system. That was when she learned about Korthak the Destroyer, the reigning champion who had never lost a fight in over 10 years of competition. Maya had won 15 fights in a row when she first heard about Korthak the Destroyer. The other prisoners spoke his name in whispers, like saying it too loud might bring bad luck. Even the guards seemed nervous when they talked about him. Korvac told her what he knew while they sat in their cell after Maya's latest victory. Korthak is not like other gladiators. He was once a normal Zephyrian warrior, but Overlord Thaxam had him changed. They put machines inside his body to make him stronger and faster. What kind of machines? Maya asked. Metal bones that cannot break, artificial muscles that never get tired, computer systems that help him predict what his opponents will do. He is part alien, part machine. No one has ever come close to beating him. Maya had fought cyborgs before during the border wars near Earth. They were dangerous, but they had weaknesses too. All machines had weaknesses if you knew where to look. How long has he been champion? 12 years. He has killed over 300 opponents in that time. The crowd loves him because he always puts on a good show before he kills his enemies. That night, Maya lay on her stone bed and thought about what Korvac had told her. 15 wins was impressive for a human, but it was nothing compared to Korthak's record. Still, she had learned something important during her time in the arena. Every opponent could be beaten if you understood how they thought and fought. The next morning, guards came to Maya's cell with an announcement that made her blood run cold. Terran Storm, the lead guard said, using her arena name. Overlord Thaxam has decided. Your next fight will be against Korthak the Destroyer. The match is in 3 days. Maya felt her stomach drop, but she kept her face calm. I understand. After the guards left, Korvac shook his head sadly. I am sorry, Maya. You fought well, but this is the end. No one survives Korthak. We will see, Maya said. For the next 3 days, Maya prepared like never before. She talked to every prisoner who had seen Korthak fight. She studied recordings of his matches that were shown on screens throughout the holding area. She watched how he moved, how he attacked, how he defended himself. Jake Morrison, a human engineer who had been captured 6 months before Maya, helped her understand Korthak's cybernetic systems. Jake had been forced to work on arena equipment and had learned about the technology the Zephyrians used. His artificial parts run on energy cells, Jake explained quietly, so the guards would not hear. The cells are powerful, but they create heat and electromagnetic signals. If you had the right equipment, you could track those signals. What kind of equipment? Jake looked around to make sure no one was watching, then pulled a small device from his shoe. I have been working on this for months. It can detect electromagnetic fields and even disrupt them if you get close enough. Maya took the device and hid it in her clothing. It was not much, but it might give her an edge. Lin Chen, another human prisoner who had been a military strategist on Earth, helped Maya plan her approach to the fight. Korthak always starts his matches the same way. He tries to intimidate his opponent with displays of strength. He breaks things, roars, flexes his muscles. Most fighters are already beaten mentally before the real fight begins. What happens after that? He charges straight at his opponent. His artificial muscles make him incredibly fast. Most beings cannot get out of the way in time. Those who do survive the first attack usually die within the next few minutes. Maya spent hours thinking about this information. Korthak's pattern was always the same because it always worked. But patterns could be broken if you knew what to expect. The day of the fight arrived faster than Maya wanted. The arena was more crowded than she had ever seen it. Beings had traveled from across the galaxy to watch the human challenger face the unbeatable champion. The betting was heavily against Maya. Most odds makers were offering 1,000 to 1 against her. Maya was given her choice of weapons and armor. She picked light gear that would let her move quickly. Speed would be more important than protection against an opponent like Korthak. When they led her up the ramp to the arena floor, the noise from the crowd was deafening. Millions of voices screamed and cheered. Many were chanting Korthak's name. Then, she saw him. Korthak the Destroyer stood 12 feet tall. His crystalline Zephyrian skin was covered with metal plates and glowing circuits. His arms were twice as thick as a normal being's arms, filled with artificial muscles and servos. His eyes had been replaced with red sensors that tracked movement faster than natural eyes could. The arena floor had been set to its most challenging configuration. Multiple levels connected by ramps and bridges created a three-dimensional maze. Gravity fields shifted randomly, making it hard to keep your balance. Weapons and obstacles were scattered throughout the structure. Korthak began his usual intimidation display. He grabbed a metal beam and bent it into a pretzel. He punched a Yeo, stone wall and left a crater the size of Maya's head. His roar was amplified by speakers in his throat, making it loud enough to hurt the ears of everyone in the arena. The crowd cheered wildly. This was what they had come to see. Maya did not watch the display. Instead, she activated Jake's device and studied the readings. Korthak's cybernetic systems were generating massive electromagnetic signals. The device could track him, even if she could not see him. More importantly, she noticed something that surprised her. The signals were not steady. They pulsed and fluctuated in a regular pattern. That meant Korthak's systems had to reset themselves periodically, probably to prevent overheating. The announcer declared the match begun. Korthak stopped his display and turned toward Maya. His red sensor eyes locked onto her position. Then, he charged, moving faster than anything that large should be able to move. Maya had been expecting this. She stumbled backward, appearing to trip over her own feet in panic. The crowd laughed at the clumsy human who was already falling apart. But Maya's stumble was planned. It put her in exactly the right position as Korthak reached her. She activated a gravity manipulation device that Jake had hidden in the arena structure. The sudden shift in gravitational field sent Korthak flying into a wall instead of crushing Maya. The champion hit the wall hard enough to crack the stone. For the first time in 12 years, Korthak the Destroyer had been knocked down. The arena fell completely silent. Maya stood up and looked down at the fallen champion. In his hand was the ceremonial crown that marked him as the greatest gladiator in the galaxy. She reached down and took it from his grip. Then she raised the crown above, her head for all to see. The human had done the impossible. She had defeated Korthak the Destroyer and claimed his title. The crowd exploded into chaos. Some cheered, some screamed in anger, some simply stared in shock. But Maya was not finished yet. She walked to the center of the arena and spoke in a voice loud enough for everyone to hear. I challenge the entire system. Not just one fighter, but all of it. Let anyone who wants to face humanity step forward. Overlord Thaxam leaned forward in his royal box. His crystal skin had turned deep red, the color of rage. The human had not just won a fight. She had issued a challenge that could not be ignored. Overlord Thaxam could not ignore Maya's challenge without looking weak in front of his people. His crystal skin stayed deep red as he stood up in his royal box. When he spoke, his voice carried across the entire arena through powerful speakers. Human thinks she can challenge our way of life. Very well. Tomorrow she will face not one opponent but 20 of our finest gladiators at the same time. If she survives that, then perhaps we will take her seriously. The crowd roared its approval. A battle royale with 20 fighters had never been done before. It would be the greatest spectacle in arena history. Most beings in the crowd were already planning to bet against Maya. 20 against 1 seemed impossible, even for the human who had beaten Korthak. But Maya had been planning for something like this. During her weeks in the arena, she had done more than just win fights. She had been building relationships with other gladiators. She had shared tactics and strategies. Most importantly, she had been planting the idea that they did not have to be slaves forever. That night in the holding cells, Maya called together 15 of the gladiators she trusted most. They met in Korvak's cell, speaking in whispers so the guards would not hear. Tomorrow they want me to fight 20 opponents, Maya told them. But what if some of those opponents were actually on my side? Bractal, the old stone warrior, leaned forward. You are talking about rebellion. That has never worked here. The guards have too many weapons. The guards are not expecting it, Maya said. They think gladiators are too afraid and too divided to work together. They have never seen coordinated resistance. Jake Morrison had been working on more than just tracking devices. I have been placing small explosive charges throughout the arena complex for months. When Maya gives the signal, I can blow holes in the walls and disable the security systems. Lin Chen spread out a rough map she had drawn on a piece of cloth. I have been studying the guard rotations and escape routes. If we move fast and work together, we can reach the surface before they can stop us. One by one, the other gladiators agreed to join the plan. They were tired of fighting and dying for the entertainment of others. They wanted freedom, and Maya had shown them it might be possible. The next morning, guards came to select the 20 fighters for the battle royale. Maya watched as they chose 19 gladiators, including 5 who were part of her secret plan. The guards had no idea they were helping to organize their own downfall. In the weapons room, Maya made sure her allies got the best equipment. She also hid several of Jake's devices on her person. The plan would only work if the timing was perfect. The arena had been reconfigured for the massive fight. The floor was now a series of platforms connected by bridges and ramps. Weapons were scattered everywhere. The crowd was larger than Maya had ever seen, with beings standing in the aisles because all the seats were full. When the 20 fighters entered the arena, the noise was overwhelming. Maya looked at her supposed opponents. 15 would try to kill her. 5 would fight beside her. The trick was making sure the crowd and guards could not tell the difference until it was too late. The announcer explained the rules. Last fighter standing would be declared the winner. No mercy would be shown. The fight would continue until only one remained alive. Maya caught the eye of Korvak, who was among the fighters. He gave her a small nod. The revolution was about to begin. The match started with chaos. 20 fighters spread across the arena, grabbing weapons and looking for opponents to kill. Maya ran toward the center platform, appearing to flee from the larger fighters who were chasing her. But her allies were moving according to the plan. Instead of attacking Maya, they began targeting the gladiators who were genuinely trying to kill her. The crowd thought it was just the normal confusion of a large battle. They had no idea they were watching a coordinated uprising. Within 5 minutes, 10 of the enemy fighters were down. Maya and her 5 allies had eliminated half their opposition while making it look like random combat. The crowd was cheering wildly, thinking they were seeing the greatest battle in arena history. That was when Maya activated Jake's first explosive device. The blast tore a hole in the arena wall. Alarms began blaring throughout the complex. Guards rushed toward the arena floor, but Lin Chen had been right about their response time. It would take them several minutes to get organized. Now, Maya shouted. Her allies stopped pretending to fight each other and turned their weapons on the remaining enemy gladiators. The battle became real as the surviving fighters realized what was happening. But it was too late. Maya's group had better weapons and better positions. Jake's explosives went off throughout the complex. Power systems failed. Security doors locked down, trapping guards in distant sections. Emergency lighting cast strange shadows across the arena. The crowd was screaming in panic now instead of excitement. Many tried to flee, but the exits were blocked by debris from the explosions. Others just stood and watched in shock as their entertainment turned into revolution. Maya fought her way to the royal box where Overlord Thaxam waited with his personal guards. The Overlord was still confident he could crush this uprising. He had ruled through fear and violence for decades. One human could not change that. But Maya was not fighting alone anymore. Korvac and Braktul reached the royal box first, their weapons cutting through the guards like they were made of paper. Other freed gladiators poured through the holes Jake had blown in the walls. The final confrontation was between Maya and Thaxam himself. The Overlord was skilled and powerful, enhanced with the same kind of cybernetic improvements as Korvac had been. But he made the same mistake all of Maya's opponents had made. He underestimated human determination. The fight was brutal, but brief. When it ended, Thaxam lay on the floor of his own arena, defeated by the small human he had thought would provide a few minutes of entertainment. Maya stood in the ruins of the gladiatorial system, holding not just Korthac's crown, but Thaxam's crown as well. Around her, thousands of freed prisoners from dozens of worlds were cheering their liberation. The news spread across the galaxy, faster than light speed. A human had not only survived the gladiatorial games, but had destroyed them completely. The rescue ships that arrived from Earth found Maya and nearly 3,000 freed beings ready to return to their home worlds. As Maya boarded the rescue vessel, she looked back at the burning arena complex one last time. The galaxy would remember this day. They would remember that humanity could not be broken, no matter how overwhelming the odds seemed. The alien gladiator had tripped her during her capture, thinking she was just another weak prisoner. But that stumble had led to something no one could have predicted. It had led to the complete overthrow of one of the galaxy's most brutal systems. Maya kept both crowns as reminders, not of her victories, but of the price of freedom and the responsibility that came with it. The galaxy was learning that humans were not the primitive species they had assumed. They were survivors, innovators, and when pushed too far, they were absolutely unstoppable. Years later, the former gladiatorial worlds became centers of cooperation and freedom. Maya's revolution had changed everything, proving that sometimes the smallest spark could ignite the greatest fire. The universe would never underestimate humanity again.